What's going on, you guys? My name is RBG and welcome back to another Transformers related video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded and I apologize for that, but I wanted to talk about something that I haven't talked about in months, and that is pertaining to the new Transformers games. Because the TF community hasn't been getting any new titles with the exception of a couple of iOS Android games like Forged to Fight and Earth Wars. Those are some of the games that are still pretty much active with monthly updates and whatnot. But my main gripe is how we haven't been seeing any titles on the main platforms except one, and that's only exclusive to China, and that game is Transformers Online. I made a brief mention about this game in one of my videos and gave general thoughts on things I've seen from various videos, but I didn't really have any hands-on experience. But with that said, I recently got a chance to play the game after it was reopened earlier this year in June, and I have to say I am thoroughly impressed with how well the game plays. Just from looking at some of the gameplay and overall aesthetic, it looks like the successor of the Transformers Universe game, which was pretty much a short-lived MMO. It looked to be an ambitious game that showed a lot of potential, but I don't think the developers really fully had a grasp on what they wanted to do with the game going forward. But I liked the overall look of the characters and the design choices. It was basically like this alternate universe of the TF Prime series. But anyways, Transformers Online seems to be borrowing certain elements from that game and sort of meshes it in with their own style, which is basically like a RPG based shooter. And that's pretty much all there is to it. But what makes this game so addictive is the different play styles and customizations, because each character plays in their own unique way. The first few matches I got in, I was a little worried because, as I said, there isn't much to the game. Essentially, you just do what your character specializes in doing and try to overthrow the other team. I found myself totally destroying all my opponents with ease, and I really didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything. I'm not sure if it was because the other players weren't good at first-person shooters or if it was just that I was damn lucky. But I think I'm coming to realize that the more you level up, the harder your opponent becomes, because you're basically going against players on a higher level. Another thing that I had to take into account is that these players are most likely using additional upgrades for their characters. I think this will be the biggest drawback to those interested in playing the beta, because the language barrier is so huge. I mean, it's obvious that if this is a game that's exclusive to China, then it's going to consist of mainly Chinese writing. I think that's been one of the only setbacks I've had with the beta, because there's only so far I can go with how I enjoy it. But I managed to get around some of these issues by copying and pasting certain articles through Google Translate. They essentially encourage the player with weekly challenges like getting a certain amount of kills with a specific character or winning with them. There are even rewards that I receive with each level up and consistent login, but I don't know what any of them do. I mean, I can sort of tell the difference when I equip them, but I don't really know how they work. Another issue I'm having is that I don't know what it takes to get new characters or their upgradable weapons due to the language barrier. So those are just some of the things that prevent me from fully enjoying the beta, but I'm pretty sure I can get a general idea of how to acquire these items from other uploaders who have gotten their hands on the items themselves. But anyways, back to the overall game itself. I think this is actually phase 3 of the beta, because the first one was launched in August 2016, then in May of this year, and the official beta test began on June 23rd. And I think it was done around the time to somewhat capitalize off the hype of TF5's release date, because the movie released shortly before this beta. I mean, for the most part, the game already took some of the design influences from Age of Extinction, like you see TF4, Optimus, and B in some of the other trailers, and in the latest updates we've been given additional movie characters like TF2 Megatron along with TF4 Hound and Crosshairs. And we now have TF5's Nemesis Prime and Megatron. So it's clear that this beta is following that hype from a marketing standpoint. TF5 did extremely well in the Chinese box office, so I'm pretty sure that that garnered a lot of traffic towards the beta. But let's move on to the playstyles for each character. Now I just have to say that this game is like a love letter to the TF fans and first-person shooter fans alike, because it has so much charm. Like, I found myself playing from hours on end with each character, mainly Blue Streak, because he's one of those versatile Transformers that you're gonna find yourself wanting on your team, but you're gonna find yourself hating if he's on the opposing side. Essentially, he can play multiple roles like sniping and holding down the fort while you're on a capture the flag or an escort mission. If you're one of those players who wants to get in on the action, Blue Streak can be used in a run and gun playstyle, but I'll have to warn you, he is highly susceptible to enemy blasts. Like, each character comes with a shield, but for the most part, they all have their own integrity and resistance of how much damage they can take. Characters like Optimus Prime and Grimlock are probably the most balanced, but mainly serve as that brute that can take a lot of damage. At first I was a little indifferent on if I like playing with Optimus Prime because he does have one of the slowest reload times, but I found his arm gun, the Cosmic Crazy Shark, the most versatile weapon in his arsenal, and the game itself. It deals a heavy amount of damage and has an accuracy rate roughly around 50%. It even has an ammunition capacity of 100 rounds. Another thing I like about Optimus is his move where he breaks out this massive shield that can not only give him cover if his health is depleted, but it can also be used to provide cover for other teammates. But the biggest asset that I think the players will love the most is his special, the Verdict of Justice. It's this sick move where Optimus is suspended in midair with his shield raised against enemy attacks, and when he's completely surrounded, you can left click on your mouse to initiate a 360-degree spinning slash with his Sword of Judgment. That's a move that you'll probably find yourself doing when you want to take out a horde of enemies, but it's important to note that this move will leave you slightly exposed to bullets, so you want to make sure you're in a closed off area. Now I think one of the main things you guys are asking is how does the transforming play in this game? Are the alt modes useful? I have to admit that I'm not that big into them. Like, they look good from a visual standpoint, but they don't really play a big part in the actual gameplay department. I feel like the alt modes are an added perk since this is for all intents and purposes a Transformers game. Like, it would be kinda dumb if the developers from Tencent Games didn't add the feature in. I'm kinda hoping that the vehicle modes get worked on more though, because they don't feel like they're grounded. Essentially what I mean is that they feel kinda floaty, not to mention that the bump detection is pretty much non-existent. You'll most likely find yourself using it to travel the map faster after you've died and have to respawn at the starting point. If I were to draw a comparison, I'd say it's like a stripped down version of the Transformers Dark of the Moon and Rise of the Darkspark stealth mode. Now when it comes to the weapons, as I mentioned earlier, all the Transformers come with a blaster, from close to mid to long range. They also come equipped with a melee weapon which allows the player to get in close and destroy his opponent from a third person view if he senses they suck at shooting. Some of the best melee wielders are Optimus Prime, obviously with his Sword of Judgment, Jazz with his Static Shock Tonfas, Bumblebee with his Laser Blade, and Megatron with his Gaia Chain Mace, which can do up to 620% damage. So as you can see, this beta offers a lot of content if you know how to navigate through the UI and explore some of the Chinese menus. As far as the servers are concerned, I've had little to no problems with it. I mean, characters pop in and out from time to time, but for the most part I think the developers had made a pretty good netcode to hold up to 6 players per mission. I'm not sure if it's because there are mainly Chinese players in the lobby with few Westerners like myself or what, but I think it's pretty good. The game runs at 1080p HD up to 60 frames per second, dropping a little under 50 frames depending on which stage you're on or the amount of chaos happening during each battle. As of now, there is no mention by Hasbro or Tencent that this game will get a Western release, so you'll just have to download the beta for the time being. I'm not sure if it'll ever get localized in the States because it just looks like a beat for beat copy of the popular shooter Overwatch. If anything, I think that's what's gonna stop it from being sold out of its respective regions, so we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and pray that the publishers are generous enough to share it. But what do you guys think about Transformers Online? Do you think it's a promising game, or do you think it's nothing more than an Overwatch ripoff? Let me know in the comment box below. If you're interested in seeing breakdowns for each specific character, leave a request on which ones you want to see and I'll get back with you. As always, I'd appreciate it if you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on future content. And if you're new to the channel and you like videos like this, or you just want to see Transformers videos in general, subscribe and hit that notification button to stay updated on all the latest uploads. But anyways, my name is RBG, signing out on another video. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Go back to the heart of the war.